Wow, so shares of data mining and analytics company Palantir fell 15% in the morning session just after they reported the first quarter results. That was a couple days ago, and things are really starting to look interesting. And I want to talk about what just happened with Palantir and what I think is going to happen next with the stock. Specifically, their first quarter results were actually below what Wall Street expected. We really need to talk about this. Now listen guys, the stock market overreacts very often. I've seen this over and over again in the past 10 years of my experience. It's your job to take advantage of an overreaction. When I was working on Wall Street, I literally saw this happen all the time. And as an analyst, I was very intrigued to see so many opportunities present themselves. My manager at the time was specifically looking for a technical breakdown in a stock. He was a quant analyst. And what I'm seeing right now with Palantir is exactly that. Although some people in the short term are very upset, in the long term, if you zoom out, the picture is actually very clear. Palantir right now, for many reasons we will go over, such as the Q1 results being different from expectations, their guidance being a lot lower, and even Cathie Wood loading up on the stock is creating an interesting mix of risk and reward I will analyze for you in this video. By the way, if you want more news and free insights, I have an email newsletter in the description that you can check out for free. Palantir shares are very volatile, and over the last year, they have had basically 40 moves that are greater than 5%. That is a lot. But the moves this big are actually very rare, even for Palantir, and this is indicating to us that this news had a significant impact on the market's perception of the business, especially on the psychology of investors. Now, we know that the psychology and the emotions of investors is actually more important than any technical or fundamental analysis, because the market is just full of people. This is especially good news though for option traders, because we have done covered calls to profit from volatility. You guys know that I love covered calls, and I'm going to go over a covered call on Palantir right now as an example. So basically, a covered call is fantastic because you get to collect income on a stock. I personally already own Palantir shares. I have 3,300 shares with the average cost of $20.91. I'm currently up $1,388 on the stock, and I'm actually playing call options as well as put options. So you will see right here that I'm up $2,655. So if you're down on the stock, you're just simply late, which is okay. It's not a problem because Palantir still has a bright future. So don't worry about the past. Let's talk about what's going to happen going forward. So for one, I currently have covered calls on Palantir at $25 strike. The thing is, Palantir fell down a lot after earnings, so the $25 strike no longer has any premium, and I was totally correct in the past. But I want to be correct in the future. So what am I going to do? Well, the thing is, what I want to do with Palantir is I'm actually going to be buying more shares and doing some covered call options. Let's just jump into the covered call itself. So let's just say that you have 100 shares of Palantir, 200 shares, or however many shares that you have. What you want to do is you want to go to sell call. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick an expiration date for June 21st. Now, why am I picking this expiration date? Because options typically expire, and traditionally they expire on the third Friday of every single month. So since this month is May as I'm making this video, it's a little bit too soon for expiration. What I want to do instead is I want to go for June expiration, which is next month. If I was going to go for a July expiration, I would pick the July 19 or August 16. These are all the third Fridays of the month. So if I was going to sell a covered call, as you will see here, I'm going to go for something like 23. Now, if I look at the 23, the delta is 0.31 with a very good volume. In fact, the volume is very high here. And the implied volatility is 42%. So this is actually very good. This option right here is worth $57, which is about, over 2% actually. So not only can I jump into Palantir stock at $21 because I think it's a good purchase right now, but I am also going to be collecting premium and making $57 for each 100 shares that I own if I were to sell a covered call. So if I click this right here, you will see if I click continue that, for every one contract or for every 100 shares, I can sell one contract and collect about $57. Now the numbers are very interesting for Palantir. The US, the commercial revenue rose about 40% year over year and 14% sequentially to $150 million. Total commercial revenue rose 27% year over year to $299 million, while government revenue rose 16% year over year to $335 million. The US government revenue accounted for much of that rise, rising about 12% year over year to $257 million. Now guys, I've talked about Palantir many times. I like it for many reasons. One is that it has artificial intelligence. Two, the CEO, Alex Karp, is a phenomenal leader. He's a genius. He's kind of like Elon Musk, but even better because he doesn't run his mouth. And this guy just knows what he's doing. The management of Palantir is very strong. Not to mention, Alex Karp actually went to my high school. So I think the connections that Palantir has is very strong with the government. And just looking at the government sector, the government isn't going anywhere. They're going to continue spending money. And that's why Palantir is going to continue capitalizing on the government and just making lots of money, recurring consistently. And all of that future cash flow, by the way, all of this future cash that is going to be estimated or expected by investors, that's only going to continue rising year over year as Palantir builds deeper relationships, continues to improve its software. And whether it's the government or the private sector, once they have their software in place, it's really difficult to get that software out. It's hard to transition from a software provider like Palantir. That's very good because that means that the business is very sticky. You want a very sticky business. For years, Palantir has navigated the turbulent waters of skepticism and doubt surrounding their vision for software development. And I think that they will be able to achieve this vision due to their strong management. Again, Alex Karp knows what he's doing. I like to invest in strong managers. Amongst all investors also, Cathie Wood is also a big supporter of the stock, likely due to management and execution. She might be liking the stock because of those reasons, but of course, I'm not fully sure why. But it is eye-opening to see that the purchases made by Cathie Wood were spread across her various ARK Invest exchange traded ETFs, right? And it's worth noting that Cathie Wood is building on a 17% stake in the company revealed in the fourth quarter update. Now look, if I go back to my Palantir position, you can see that I'm not just playing covered calls. I like the covered calls and I'm making money on them, but I'm also selling puts. I'm actively trying to purchase more shares of Palantir. I currently have $70,000 in the stock. It makes up about 3.5% of my portfolio. And what I want to do right now is I want to keep buying the shares. Now I'm going to point out something a little bit crazy, but this is actually really smart. I like dollar cost averaging. It's one of the best strategies. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to buy some Palantir shares. Now I'm not going to buy a lot of shares. I'm just going to go for 200 shares right now. I'm going to review this order and submit it. Now the reason why I'm buying shares of Palantir is because I am dollar cost averaging. So I just bought 200 more shares. You will see here that my average cost actually went up. Now, is that a bad thing? Not necessarily, because if you look at a company like Palantir or Amazon or Meta or Nvidia, any of these big technology companies that are positively trending upwards over the long term, you're not going to be able to average cost down. There's just no way, and I mean, there is a way, but it's very unlikely that Palantir is going to fall and be a lot cheaper than $20 long term. So for me, I'm going to continue buying shares even if it's above my average cost. That's very difficult to do, specifically because mentally as investors, you might have a cognitive bias towards buying shares lower than your average cost. But the truth of the matter is you want to be buying shares as much as possible if it's a good company. You want to keep acquiring shares as long as the company is valued less than you think it will be in the future. And for me, I think Palantir can be a $30, $40, maybe a $50 stock in the coming years. So for me, this is a very obvious investment that I want to be in. And also, I have a very small stake currently in this portfolio. I do have more shares of Palantir, but still, it's currently about 5% of my overall net worth, or even a little bit less, probably around 4.5%. So I'm okay with increasing my position into Palantir, potentially a few hundred more shares over the next couple of months. I'm going to be buying this stock consistently, and I'm also going to be selling covered calls. So you can watch me do that right now. What I'm going to do is I currently have 3,500 shares. I have sold about 23 covered calls in the past, so I can currently sell the difference. So the difference is 23 contracts, 35 contracts. That's going to be 12 contracts that I can sell right now and generate some income on. So if I go to sell call option, I can sell a call option for say May 17. Now what I can do is, again, I have 12 contracts that are currently uncovered, meaning that my current 23 shares are covered, but the rest of the 12 or 1,200 shares are basically uncovered. So I can go for some income generating opportunity such as the May 17 expiration. This would be pretty short term. However, I'm pretty happy collecting about 1%, as you can see here. Now, another thing that I could do is I can go out a little bit farther. Now, I typically don't like to trade expirations that are not the traditional third Friday. However, with Palantir, it's not really a problem. I can go 2 weeks out. And in fact, this is even better for me because I go 2 weeks out. I can go a little bit higher to 22.5, giving myself 50 more cents of upside. So before I was looking at the 22, now I'm going to look at the 22.5, and I'm going to go ahead and sell the 22.5 strike price. You'll see here that I can collect $26. So if I click continue right now, and I'm going to sell the 12 contracts, I'm going to sell 12 contracts. Again, you can see that the bid here is 0.26 and the ask is 0.29. I'm going to try to get 0.27. Going to review this order, and I'm going to submit this order right now. All right, so I have submitted this order. As you can see, it has been placed. However, it's not getting filled. The reason for that is because it's currently the bid and the ask. It should be actually getting filled at 27. However, I'm not having that much luck. That could be due to volume, although the volume here is very good. I may have to wait, but if I wait longer than 30 seconds, what I typically do is I don't really wait for the extra dollar. I'll just go ahead and replace the order. I'll click continue, and I will just settle for 0.26. Now you could also kind of wait for it and see if you'll get filled, cancel the order, put in 0.27 again and just wait. However, I'm not really going to do that. I'm okay just getting 0.26. Although we can see here, I'm still not getting filled. So now I will definitely wait because it doesn't make any sense to go below the bid price. So I've actually never seen this. I've been sitting around and kind of waiting for a 30 seconds to 45 seconds. I still did not get filled. So what I'm going to do is in this rare scenario, which I've actually pretty much not seen before in my little career here of investing, I'm going to go to May 31st, just go out a little bit farther, potentially see if I can get some luck on getting filled for the 22.5 again. I'm going to go again for 12 contracts here. This is a little bit wider, so I should get filled here for 36. Although the volume is lower, the bid-ask spread here is more wide. If I went for 0.36, it should give me a little bit of an advantage to actually get filled. So I just went for 0.35, and what I realized here is this is actually a Robinhood error. Robinhood is currently not working because this is actually impossible for the bid to have 765 contracts being bid for and the ask at 53. So if I'm trying to sell and I'm going for 0.36, I should get filled. And I just went for 0.35 and I did not get filled, which means that the Robinhood platform is just currently not working. This is statistically impossible from happening. And yeah, it's literally statistically impossible. This should never, ever happen. You should never be asking for this. You should never be trying to sell something below the bid and still not getting filled. This is like going into a car dealer and the car dealer says, here, buy this, car for, let's say you go to Ford and they're like, hey, buy this car for $20,000 right now. And you're like, no, you know what? I don't want to buy it for 20. I'll give you 21,000. And then the car dealer is like, nah, I'm good. I don't want the extra 1,000 for free. That's like literally equivalent to what's happening right now. The market is 0.36 on the bid and 0.4 on the ask, meaning the market is saying, hey, you can sell this, but I'm only going to give you 0.36 for it. And you're saying, no, it's fine. I don't want 0.36. I'm okay with 0.35. And yeah, didn't get filled. My internet's fine. Maybe it's not the best to use Robinhood. Maybe sometimes it's better to use a paid broker. So anyways, I don't really have an update for this video from here on, but you guys get the point. You can sell covered calls at 0.36 or whatever the bid price is in 99.9 cases, unless the broker kind of breaks like this. So let me know, how many shares of Palantir do you guys have? What's your current investment strategy? And what is your average cost on Palantir? I'm really curious to know. And if you want more videos on Palantir, make sure that you're subscribed with bell notifications on, and I'll have more news for you coming up soon. Have an awesome, blessed, and amazing day.